Hey, what's up, internet? So last year I uploaded a video called Advice for High School Freshmen or something like that. And it got really popular, and I was kind of going through my channel a few days ago, and I thought there's some stuff that I could kind of add to that, give some more perspective on, talk about in kind of a different light now that I've graduated high school. And so yeah, that's what this is. Alright, so I graduated high school like a month and a half ago, and one of my final projects was actually to make a video where I talked about like how high school had changed me and who I had become and what I'd learned, and I considered just uploading that video, but then I realized two things. One, it kind of ignored the point that I was trying to get across in this video, and two, a lot of it was lying. Because, to be honest, what I said I learned in the video and what I actually learned from high school were two very different things. What I said I learned in the video was a lot of stuff about, like, friendship and math, literature, all the stuff you're supposed to say when you talk about what you learned from high school. And in reality, I did learn about some of that stuff, but I also learned a lot about the way that life can just kind of punch you in the gut sometimes, and how to kind of deal with that. I'm making this video to make getting punched in the gut by life easier, hopefully. There's a few things that have been a little bit different since I graduated, and one of them is I'm not going to college right now. Well, I wouldn't anyway because it's summer, but I'm not going to college this fall. I mentioned in my last video I'm taking a gap year where I'm traveling with a program, and yeah, I'm basically just taking some time off so that I don't completely burn out and drop out of college, basically. And one thing that I really noticed about that was I made that decision like kind of last minute. Like, I had applied to all my schools, I was waiting for their answers, and then like I found out that gap years were a thing, and I was like, I want to do this. And so there was this really awkward period of like 4 months where everyone in my class had like decided where they were going to school, what they were planning on majoring in, and all sorts of stuff. And I knew where I was going to school after, but it was kind of awkward to say, oh, I'm not going to college this fall. And like, everyone I talked to about it was super supportive of like my decision, and they all thought that what I was doing was really cool. But it was kind of a mental thing that I had to get over, where I was like, you're supposed to go to college. And what I've realized is like, college after high school isn't the right choice for everyone, and sometimes college isn't the right choice at all. Like, I'm going to college because it's what's right for me, eventually. But I think a lot of what high schools push right now is college. And I wish there was somebody at the school who would say, you have other options. Like, there are trade schools, which are super cool, and like, you can make a heck of a lot of money being like a plumber or somebody who fixes air conditioners, but like, it's kind of looked down upon in like the education system, when really we probably should be like, yes, that's an option you have and something that's super cool, you know? Applying to colleges, there were a lot of questions about it when I did this kind of video last year, and I wasn't in the best place to answer them because I was in the middle of that process. And having gone through it, I think there's important things that I want to talk about. One, your essay is really important because it's the only chance that people who are looking at your application have to see something about you that's not formulaic, right? Like, they can take your GPA, your SAT, and your ACT, and all the clubs you were in, and they can, like, put you on a board of like, well, compared to other applicants, they're not as strong here, or they're stronger here, but they bring this. But the essay gives you a chance to kind of have a voice. So my actual college admissions essay was about how I wrote an essay for my junior year about killing zombies. One of my teachers talked about how he had read an essay about a guy who had, like, his grandma had gone to a birthday party with Fidel Castro. And, like, that was his hook. And that's what he brought it back to. So, make your paper the most interesting thing about you. At the end of the day, if you look at an essay where somebody's like, I played soccer with my team and won, versus, like, I don't know, I once punched Benedict Cumberbatch in the face. Like, which one of those essays are you gonna remember more? You shouldn't get too stressed when applying to colleges, because I know there's a lot of stress put on grades. There really is. And that is a very hard thing to overcome if you are not the best academically. Like, I took a lot of hard classes and I did all right with them, but I was not an excellent student by any stretch of anyone's imagination. And yet, like, I got into some schools and, like, I had some options, and, like, no matter who you are and what you're doing, if you try, you're gonna get in somewhere. And even if you don't, there's, like, absolutely no shame in going to, like, a community college, whether for money reasons or, like, just to get some prereqs out of the way, and then transferring somewhere else later. Like, I know a lot of super smart, really talented people who are going to a nearby community college to get their prereqs out of the way, and then they're transferring to the school they want. One of the things I wish that I had known when I was in high school was, like, it is okay to not be the best. Like, it was always really hard because you would hear people, like, talking about their class placement or grade they'd gotten on a test, and, like, in your head you're kind of comparing it, and, like, they always talk about it's okay to fail one test, but you should still try hard. Even if you mess up and, like, you have a really hard time one semester, if you keep working, you're gonna be able to find something that works for you. Like, maybe you don't get into Harvard, but you're gonna find somewhere that works for you and what you want. And I don't even know if I'm making sense at this point. All I could think about after I graduated was how I wished that somebody had told me that, like, it's okay to have a hard time because things are gonna work out the way they're supposed to. And, like, yeah. One of the most important things about my high school experience was the people. When I entered high school, I did not have a strong group of friends. I loosely knew some people in the band. I was not in the band. I wasn't involved in anything my freshman year. And so I just kind of went through and I sat with the people who were there and I just did what I did. And then I joined marching band and I, like, made solid friendships and everything changed. Like, I still struggled with a lot of different stuff, but it was good to have a group of people there who I cared about and who cared about me. My friends, we will go out and we will do stuff all the time, but no matter what we're doing, it almost always turns back into, like, sitting around and talking and just enjoying being together. I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is getting involved and, like, finding a solid group of people who I cared about and who cared about me was probably the best and only high school experience I had that mattered. Like, yeah, maybe I got an A on some test or I wrote a really cool paper, but none of that matters when, like, I had people who I cared about. And, like, I really would encourage everybody to go, like, if you don't know anybody, go to some clubs, maybe join an activity. Joining marching band was the best thing that I did in high school, because it brought me closer to some people, and it gave me opportunities to get to know other people. And like, even if I'm not best friends with everybody in band, like, I definitely share those experiences with them. And it's just, this goes back to the idea of before of like, you don't have to be the best. I was never the best musician. I was never in charge of a section. I never like stood out, but I was there. And like, I have memories with people that I'll have for the rest of my life. And I have like really special bonds with like people who I went to Indianapolis for Grand Nationals for, who I went to London with, like, who I got locked into a Penske truck my sophomore year with because it was lightning outside. I don't really know what this video was supposed to be. I don't even know if I'll end up posting it, honestly. I guess I spent a lot of time in high school listening to a bunch of people who were like the top of the class, best athlete, most popular, give speeches at the end of the year. Like, they would gather us all up and have like the seniors who had achieved a lot or overcome significant adversity talk to all of us. And I always wished that there was somebody who said something that was more geared towards someone like me, who, like, it hasn't been easy and like needed to know it was gonna be okay, and needed to know that like, even if you mess up sometimes, there's gonna be things you can do that can make it better. I'm really sorry if none of that made sense. I hope that when life sucker punches you in the gut, you can get up a little bit faster than I did. And if not, that's okay too. I just always thought it would be nice to hear somebody who, like, wasn't a straight A student and didn't win any awards. Maybe not. Okay, bye.